to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life. Monk, really, I know he's manager. What kind of say this?
Gary Monk, 5 out of 10.
I haven't finished it. I cannot believe Gabby had Bond the
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's terrible. Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot. Hello, welcome back to the Villa View podcast with Thomas Julian and myself, Dan Bardell, here for another week. Here to review another Villa week. Tom, you well?
I'm much better than you are.
Yeah, I am in big trouble with man influenza.
I don't like it that we're in a very enclosed space here and all Dan is doing is breathing out toxic gases.
If we were going to put money on someone being ill next week, you'd be a high favourite.
Now,
I believe I'm contagious.
I will say, I'm not going to be the first one to draw the dots, but Christmas party last night, not feeling very good today.
No.
Come on.
No. The last 3 or 4 years, I have been an absolute disgrace at the Christmas party.
As I can attest to.
This year, I was not even drunk. Because I feel like I'm swallowing razor blades here, and alcohol was doing nothing to me. I went early and walked home. I didn't stay till the end. I went on to soft drinks towards the end as well. I was drinking water at the table with the food, so there's something severely wrong here. But I did win an iPad Pro, so it wasn't all bad.
Yeah, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that win. Although I wasn't so pleased when I picked it up today, and it was rose gold, aka pink. That's enough about my personal life. Tom, you had your Christmas party yet?
No, not. We're having drinks with the media on Monday, and then
drinks with the media.
Then our official party is the Monday after that. So I'm actually organising this drinks, which is a nightmare. But,
why are you organising it? Because you're relatively new, aren't you? I imagine you're still the new boy, or is that a way of hazing you?
I think it's a bit of a whipping boy, you know. Tom can do that kind of thing. Yeah, no. A bit like the podcast, really.
Experience in that kind of thing. I don't see you as a drinks organiser.
A party planner.
I don't see you as that.
I'm fun at parties.
Okay.
All the hors d'oeuvres are going to be absolutely lovely.
I was going to say, it'd be nice if you brought some fun into the podcast. When you're using words like hors d'oeuvres, you're going to have lost at least half the people that listen to this. That's
I actually meant canapes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I don't even know what an hors d'oeuvre is.
I think they're similar, aren't they? Are they like starters?
Said I don't know what it is,
fair enough.
So I've got a clue.
All right, should we get on to the football?
Yeah, terrible.
Leeds United won, Aston Villa won. It was a Friday night kickoff, and it went from terrible to kind of all right, didn't it? Like the first half was dreadful. The second half was okay to good, and Villa came away with a 1-1 draw, and can't have any complaints really.
No, I think I predicted a draw beforehand.
You did?
In our preview show and on the podcast, so obviously I'm delighted to get something right, although I'd obviously rather we had the 3 points. The first half was terrible. As you say, we could barely string 3 passes together. Our ball retention in that first half was non-existent. It really was.
Yeah.
Really was. Poor second half, better, especially with the introduction of Grealish and Lansbury. The ball retention suddenly became better. We didn't look up for it the first half. It looked a bit like the rabbit in the headlights. I think
it should be noted what you just said there about Lansbury and Grealish coming on. Bruce has been criticised for not being able to change the game sometimes, and he really did there. And those 2 players did change the game.
I thought I was crying out for Grealish at half time, to be honest, because as I said in the match review, Onima, who I've really liked since he's been here, he had a really bad game. Mm-hmm. You could tell by his face when he came off. He knew he was frustrated, and he knew he'd had a bad game. But that's no problem, because that happens with young players. We've seen it with Davis as well. They're not going to play well every week. The good thing is we've got 2 good number 10s to call upon, and we just looked a different team with Grealish. He looks after the ball. If the opposition can very rarely get the ball off him, they're usually forced to foul him, so we keep the ball. So I know Lansbury scored, but I really thought Grealish was the game changer.
I've got to take that down just a slight bit because we can't see you enough. I feel like
don't worry about that.
I feel like we need to see you more. Let's go back to the first goal. Janssen scoring from the set piece, and Bruce came out after the game. He said Chris Samba still needs to learn. He's still learning his game. I thought that was a weird. Yeah, I thought that was a weird. Bizarre. I thought that was a weird thing to say, right? I mean, he's a 36-year-old man. And I actually didn't think.
That old, is he? Say he's 36. I don't think Samba's quite that old.
Was he 30? He must be in that range.
I'd guess of 33, 34, but I don't know Villa players' ages off by heart.
No, not yet. The squad numbers tick, but age is not so good. But. Even if, whether you think it was Samba's fault, I've seen a few people saying that they thought it was Johnson's fault, which I don't agree with. And some people saying it was Samba's fault. I just feel like he didn't react quite quick enough. I thought Janssen was quickest off the mark. If you watch the replay, Samba's kind of getting as tight to him as possible, and he seems more interested in being tight to him than actually watching when the delivery comes into me. So it was just a little bit of being beaten by a quicker man on the day. I didn't think it was something that he could necessarily learn from.
No, it was poor. It was poor marking. It was a very good ball in. It's worth saying.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It was a very good corner. It put us when you put in a ball with swerve and dip and pace like that. It is difficult to defend. I would have expected Samba to compete a bit more than he did. I mean, I think Janssen scored against us last season at Villa Park, so it's not like he was unfamiliar to us from set plays. One of my friends, I'm going to call him out because I know he listens to the podcast every week. Aston. He was at the game and he was texting me having a right pop at Johnston for the first goal. And
really?
He's sobered up since then, but he's still saying it was Johnston's fault. I don't get that.
No.
I don't see what Johnston could have done.
For me, Samba should be... Because, again, I watched the replay a couple of times. Samba is very intent on keeping close to Janssen. What he should be doing is waiting for the delivery, watching the delivery, and beating the man straight away. That's where I think the mistake was. I don't really think... It was so close to Johnston. I'm not sure there's an awful lot he could have done.
He's saying Johnston should have come.
Oh, really?
A little bit.
I thought it was just about too far out for Johnston to go. I mean, I'm not a goalkeeper.
He's saying he doesn't dominate 6-yard box. There's a bit of a trend with set plays emerging. As I've said in the review video, we are suddenly looking a bit susceptible from set plays.
I was actually going to come on to that because it's happened a few times. With their captain, Cooper, had a chance, not the goal, but before that, the disallowed goal, where he was completely on his own.
After that, the free kick.
It was the free kick, after the first goal, but before Cooper scored the disallowed goal.
I don't remember that disallowed goal at all. I've erased it from my memory.
Oh yeah. Again, it was another dubious one, but Cooper. Anyway, he's completely on his own. The head is off target, but it's just worrying that he had so much space, and we've seen it before where Villa don't seem to have a command of these set pieces at the moment. And there was another ball which came flying in. I can't remember who was in the box for Leeds, but I think there was 3 Leeds players all diving at it. That also could have been converted when we were 1-0 down. Do you remember that?
I think we're missing Terror. I think it's fair to say he's the organiser in the side. Chester's a good captain, not as vocal as Terry, but he's probably not as good at organising the defence, which obviously is to be expected because John Terry's a seasoned pro and Chester's not quite as far into his career as Terry. It's a little bit worrying, but I think Terry will be back sooner rather than later. But one thing you'd expect from Samba is him to dominate aerially because he's a beast.
Yeah.
So it's a bit strange that we're looking a bit dodgy from set plays because you'd think he's a bit of blood and guts. You'd think he'd clear things, Samba. Yeah,
and I noticed you said it on the review as well. Teams like Millwall, who are struggling to pick up points, they're going to fire in those balls, especially if they've seen a weakness in Villa, and that's going to be a real test for us. I mean, we'll get onto that game a little bit later, and we'll do a preview as always and that kind of thing. But it's nervous, isn't it? It's a nervy time, especially when it's 0-0 or 1-0 down. Another one of those goes in, and it's a long way back. The thing is, last season we wouldn't have got back into that game. We'd have gone on to lose probably 2-0 like we did at Ellen Road last season. We've got a bit of character and resilience now, and even though we've got injuries, we've got options to come off the bench, and there seems to be a good togetherness within the group. Now you can say when Lansbury scored, everyone was really pleased for him. Obviously they all knew it was his first goal for the club, so I think there's a lot of good relationships at the club now, and I think that helps. Yeah. But I think we're just so much better set for the Championship. I just wish we got off to a bit of a better start. Yeah, for Lansbury's goal, actually, I want to give a bit of credit to the referee who played an excellent advantage there because, again, you mentioned it on the review, I thought Janssen should have definitely been booked for that. Referee let the play go, and we created a chance, and Lansbury finished it off with aplomb. It was he didn't hit it as cleanly as he perhaps could have, but he was right in the corner, enough to post. It was one of those ones I didn't think he was going to go over the line. I thought he was going to hit the post and go across the line at the time. It's good for him to get a goal, get off the mark, because that'll give him good confidence now. I've not really criticised him on the podcast or on the Villa View, but speaking to mates and stuff, I have always said I want a bit more from Lansbury. I know he's a capable player, and I don't feel like I've seen anything near what he's capable of since he's been at Villa. Obviously, he's had injuries this season, which hasn't helped, and he's been out the team. But I think now this could really kickstart his Villa career. He's coming up to a year here, and that's his first goal. So it's been slow going for him, and he'd probably admit that himself. But if he comes in and is firing now, that creates more competition for places because Horahan hasn't really had
any competition for his place in central midfield, I'd say, because there isn't really another goal-scoring midfielder. So now, suddenly we could have Lansbury and Hourihane competing for that place, and that's good for Villa.
Yeah, it's great timing as well with such a busy December and Christmas period, and with the injuries mounting up in other positions, it's nice to have some options where we can make straight swaps. Do you think the games that Grealish and Lansbury showed on Friday night will have immediate effect? Do you think we'll see them starting on Saturday?
If it was me, I'd have him in. You need to rotate.
Both of them?
Yeah. You need to rotate a little bit anyway over Christmas. And as I said in the review, the two players they've replaced weren't having their best games, probably. Lansbury and Grealish have come on and turned the game in Villa's favour. They probably deserve to start. Now, if you play well for me, you deserve the shirt. If Grealish was to do nothing on Saturday and Onuma come on and replace him and do well in that game, then you keep Onuma in. I think if you've come on and performed well, and I imagine Grealish especially is chomping at the bit to play now, being a Villa fan as well. He's chomping at the bit. Will want to get in the team around Christmas. I'd keep him in. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah, I guess the only difference there is that actually we haven't quite hit the busy period. We're going from a Friday game to a Saturday game, so they've got the longest period they're going to have this Christmas, and perhaps in the season between two games. So, do you think it's a little bit harsh? Maybe one bad game from Onuma, who we've routinely praised, and Hourihane as well, who's been a real quality player creating chances for Villa.
If I had to choose one of them to put in, it would be Grealish.
Right.
For Onuma, I think young players, they need taking out the firing line. We've been talking about Davis.
Yeah, I agree.
Needing a rest, but we haven't got anyone to replace him with. Well, with Onuma, we have got someone to replace him with. So if he's had a bit of an iffy game, he'll be a good. And it's the same with Grealish. He's obviously a good player off the bench. Onuma's a good player to bring on as well. So it's good to have these options. But I think Grealish has done enough certainly to start. I think Lansbury probably has as well. Yeah. I know what you're saying. I think Hourihane, the goals have dried up a little bit for him. I don't think he's scored since that free kick against Forest. I think that's right. Mm-hmm. I think I'm right in saying that. But I actually think the defensive side of his game has been very good. I think him and Whelan have done some great work defensively, but he's not been as effective going forward. Lansbury's confidence is going to be high, probably a bit higher than Hourihane's right now. So I just think playing both against Millwall, we're at home. We want to attack. We want to win. Playing both, they've got something to prove now. They want to stay in the team because they've been on the bench.
That's it. I don't disagree at all. And as I say, it's nice to have those options to be able to switch in like for like players and be a bit creative with it.
That's the thing. We couldn't do that last season. Yep. If Codger wasn't playing well, there wasn't really anyone to come and bring in for him. And we haven't had Codger virtually the whole season. We're probably not going to have him for the whole season. Yet we're still doing well. So we've got good options in this squad now. Whelan's a bit of a worry with the resting because he's played a lot of football already this season, and with Jednak probably going to be out for at least 6 weeks, we could have done with him over Christmas. I think one of Whelan or Jednak always has to play in our team, so that's going to be tough because he's going to have to play a lot of games now.
Do you think we've seen it before, it's kind of like the old Gerrard Lampard debate, but a couple of notches down, isn't it? Playing Hourihane and Lansbury together just leaves us just with a hole in that kind of that anchoring midfield role. I think you say you say Hourihane has improved defensively, but still that takes away from his game going forward.
That's the thing. I think Lansbury's capable of playing that sitting midfield role, but it's not his natural game. His natural instinct is to come forward, whereas Whelan, his natural instinct, and Jednak, their natural instinct is to defend. So I think you can play Lansbury and Hourihane together with Onuma or Grealish in front. But after that, there isn't really much else, is there? If Yednak's injured at the moment, Onuma could perhaps move into the central midfield with maybe a Whelan. But I don't know. That's
quite exciting, though. I think if you can get those two players playing together, that's obviously, well, to me, that's the ideal. You know, you've got these youngish players, and that midfield 5 or 4 and the number 10 if you want, that's ideal, really, with Grealish up top, because that's the team that's going to go on next season to hopefully be part of our Premier League midfield.
I think midfield would be in a bit of trouble.
Do you think?
In the Premier League, I think it would be in a bit of trouble.
Weakness being the centre midfield?
Probably. We'd need an all-round, top of the range central midfielder in the Premier League.
It's so hard. I like, as we work through the season, I just keep thinking about the team if we were to go up. But there's and one, you shouldn't be doing it anyway, but 2, there's so many changes that's going to happen at Villa Park next season, whether or not we go up. It's going to be a really interesting and nail-biting season, I think, next year.
Just think his name's just popped into my head. Maybe Doyle Hayes could come back into the squad. I mean, he's not really a defensive midfielder, but I'd say he's more of a deep-lying midfielder who pops the ball around nicely. Maybe he's going to come into contention around the 18 again now. I'm just trying to think who else could play central midfield. There isn't really. I think Bjarnason might have played there once or twice for us, but I wouldn't want to see him in the centre.
No, I don't like that at all.
No, there is. We're suddenly not weak, but just Redknapp being missing, it does create a problem because there's going to be a lot of games, and I don't think Whelan will be able to play every game. I think that is a little bit of a worry and a little bit of a problem because I personally think Whelan's been very good.
Yeah. Are you slightly concerned that we haven't seen enough from our under 23s yet? We've kind of talked about Doyle Hayes at the start of this, start of the podcast. Really, first couple of episodes, we were excited to see him. Callum O'Hare, we still haven't seen that much from. Would you not think that we'd see a little bit more from them when El Mohammadi's coming on up front or coming on for Adoma? Could we not be blooding the youngsters in there instead?
It's to see out games, though, isn't it? When Al Mohammadi was there, he can't have been up front for more than 10 minutes.
No.
It's just to see out a game, and in that instance, seeing out a game, you don't really want to be throwing on an attacking kid because they haven't got the nous yet, obviously, because they haven't played the senior game. So to me, that's not a massive problem. If you think about it, the under-23s, Keenan Davis has played virtually the whole season. So that probably wasn't expected. So that's been a big bonus because if we hadn't have had him being as effective, we wouldn't be as high as we are on the table because we haven't had Codger for the whole season. Hogan struggled. Gabby's been injured the whole season. So
but what
if we hadn't discovered Davis, we'd have been in massive problems.
But we might find someone else if we're giving these guys a chance and we haven't seen them yet.
I think with O'Hare, it's going to be difficult because he's got Grealish and Onoma ahead of him, they're better players than him. O'Hare might turn out to be better than both of them put together. We don't know.
We don't know. That's it.
They're more established. Grealish has come back at the wrong time for O'Hare because I think he would have seen some football off the bench. But Grealish is obviously he was going to build the team around him. He said so. You would expect him to play games, and Onoma we're probably paying a relatively high chunk of his wages to Spurs. So he's also going to get football and maybe has like a clause in his contract where he has to play a certain amount of football. So I get what you're saying, but we're. Up front, we've certainly been too reliant on the 23s, and Hepburn Murphy's on his way back now. I think he'll see some football. We don't. I do really get what you're saying because we don't know what they can do. Hepburn Murphy's an unknown quantity to me. He's got good potential and looks a good player.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he can do at this level. The brief cameos he's had, I remember him coming on at Villa Park against Newcastle last season in September under Di Matteo, and he looked good. And Keenan Davis has shown that those kind of players can make an impact, but you just don't know.
Yeah.
It's sink or swim, isn't it? You just don't know.
Absolutely, and I think, but the kind of point for me is that we've got this month now, we've got 6 games, and you need to put your trust in the squad now, and our squad, like it or lump it, is made up of under 23 players included because we've got key injuries, and we're going to have to see what they can do, and I'd like to see him on the bench at least, and then have that option. But having said that, I did think Bruce used his bench well on Friday night, and
very well,
and it changed the game for the positive for Villa. So gets you off to a good start in the old Villa View podcast predictions. You went for a draw, didn't you?
I can't remember if I said 1-1 or 2-2.
But you went for a draw,
yeah.
So that's better than me. So
yeah, it's good.
I went for the negative loss, which is, I'm glad that I was wrong.
Yeah. And your prediction was looking quite safe.
Yeah.
In the first half. to be fair.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You put out a little tweet yesterday, a little poll.
Yeah.
Moving on from, are we done with the Leeds game?
I think so. I think we covered it in quite big detail then, and in the review video. So if you haven't checked out the review video, go back and listen to Dan Rolinson and I chat about that. I quite enjoyed doing that because we did it literally straight after the game, so everything was fresh in my head, so I felt a bit more organised.
Nice use of the word vocalisation from Dan Rolinson.
Was he right about that word?
No.
I thought so. Was I right with the one I came in with afterwards?
Vocalising, yeah,
of course.
But then you used ironic wrong.
Did I?
Like almost straight away afterwards. Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
That's unlike me.
Anyway, let's move on. It is a really good review, actually. So if you haven't caught up with the game, make sure you check it out on the Villa View YouTube channel.
Yes.
You put out a tweet yesterday, a vote. Now, the story, the background to this is John Terry, obviously Villa captain and centre-back, injured with a broken metatarsal, was taking photos of himself on Instagram the other day. In full Chelsea kit at the Cobham training ground, Chelsea's training ground, and Dan just kind of. Do you want to read the tweet so everyone knows what's going on?
Yeah, well, I actually don't know what your
You've just
thoughts are.
clicked on the wrong thing there.
Clicked on your name.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what your thoughts are on it because we haven't spoke about it at all. But I just wanted to know: Do you? I put a poll out saying, "Do you care that John Terry is wearing Chelsea gear today at Chelsea?" I don't care. So 8% cared, and 92% couldn't care less. That was the results. So nice that it pretty much fits in with what I thought. I'm surprised even there was 8% that cared, to be honest.
Almost 700 votes in there as well. So thank you for voting. If you were one of the ones that let your opinion be known, I thought there should have been a third column.
What should that have been, Tom?
I don't care.
Yeah,
but it's weird. Now
Is it weird?
I actually clicked on the yes I care because I wanted to be different to the no I don't care because I just find it really, really odd, and I'll tell you why. I can't think of another example of a player who is currently playing for a club who's not on loan, he's owned by Aston Villa, and it's a metatarsal injury. It's not like I don't understand the logic for going back to Chelsea. I don't think the facilities for a metatarsal injury are going to be better than the ones you get. To me, it's just a timing process. And I think Bruce has said the same. You have to give it enough time. I don't think there's a magic wand that Chelsea can have that Villa don't have on that. Why he's in the full kit? Why he's there in the first place? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I will stress that it hasn't kept me up at night. I honestly don't care about it, but I find it very odd.
Why? Well, obviously you've just told me why.
Yeah, did you not listen to my last 2-minute monologue?
While you were talking? You said a few things that I find bizarre.
Go on.
We're saying, why is he there? It's obviously a day off, so he's not obliged to be at Bodymoor Heath. Mm-hmm. He lives in that area. Why not go and use the facilities on your day off?
Why not use the Villa facility?
Because you've got to drive 2 hours to use the Villa facilities. It's his day off.
But what's he doing? Like, what's he doing?
I don't know, because I'm not a doctor.
Well, exactly. But it's a metatarsal injury. I don't know what he could be doing there that would be that much different. To me, it's like he's gone in to see all the lads and having a nice time.
Well, maybe he has gone to... An element of it might be that he likes to see his mates, a lot of them who will have played football with for a long time, the club he loved dearly. So there probably is an element to that. But it's his day off. He didn't have to do any treatment if he didn't want to.
No, he didn't.
He's still going in and working hard, trying to get back. And you can see the work he's putting in behind the scenes.
That I don't doubt.
All sorts.
Listen, I don't doubt that. To me, it seems like it's an Instagram post for the Chelsea fans, which again,
he didn't post it though to begin with. It was David Luiz that posted it.
But he's still. There's no way he couldn't have gone, "Oh, please, David, don't post it," kind of thing. I thought this quote was interesting. This tweet from Jack Hannibal M at 2JM Jack. I shouldn't have said the handle. Couldn't get there. It's a non-issue for me. He's been great for us. He's been at Chelsea for years. They're doing us a big favour, allowing him to train close to where he lives. He shows up to support the team even though he's injured. Top Terry.
Yeah, I think Jack understands the situation perfectly.
I just find it weird because I can't. Can you think of another player that's done that?
No, but then I'm not scouring Instagram looking at every other team what other players are doing.
Say, for example, Frank Lampard did that when he was at Man City. Do you think that's different? Like, he's a club legend as well. If he'd gone back to Chelsea and taken a load of pictures, do you think the Man City fans would be like... It's like a lot of the Villa fans have gone, John Terry's doing us a massive favour by being at the club.
I don't agree with that.
But have you seen those tweets?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think the Lampard point you raise, I think the point... If Lampard wanted to do that when he was at Man City, he wouldn't have been allowed to do it because they're competitors.
Yeah, well,
Villa and Chelsea are not competitors. We're not even in the same league.
That's the opinion that I raised. I spoke with my dad about this because I was like, I wanted to, because I knew that I was in the minority here, and I've got no problem with that.
I knew you'd be in this minority. I had an inkling that you'd be one of the 8%.
I really don't care. That's the bottom line about this. I really don't. But I was like, I'll ring my dad because my dad's been around a long time, big football fan. He's not attached really to any club.
No.
And I was like, Dad,
you didn't celebrate when Villa scored at QPR. It's very muted.
Dad, can you name a player that's done this? What do you think about this? And he was just like, I just don't really think it matters.
It doesn't.
Which is exactly how I feel.
Oh, but why are you in the 8% then?
Because I don't think it matters. I find the response weird, is what I'm saying. I just find it. I find it a strange situation. and I don't like it.
Well, when Birmingham Mail reported, I'm just going to read my tweet that I replied to the Birmingham Mail saying at the time.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, my brain's not working as well as it should be because of my man influenza.
Yeah.
So I said I genuinely have no issue with it. Because of the kit thing. That was what people are making the big deal. Not that he's there, it's the kit.
Yeah.
There's the problem. It's probably standard procedure at the facility. So even if he rocked up with Villa kit in his hand, he probably wouldn't be allowed to wear it because of some form of sponsorship issues, and someone else raised that.
I mean, if it's a day off, he could wear whatever he wanted. He could wear.
Not at that facility being treated by Chelsea
He couldn't
staff.
just wear Adidas gear or whoever he's sponsored by.
I can't remember. I think he's sponsored by Nike.
Right.
But
Anyway,
then Chelsea is sponsored by Adidas.
Carry on with your tweet.
No, they're not. Chelsea are Nike now. They used to be Adidas. I said, arguably there's better facilities for his treatment at Chelsea. It's probably his day off. And it's clear to see that he's working his arse off to get back. And he hasn't. It's not like he hasn't performed when he's played for us.
Yeah.
So there's no issue here whatsoever. I was having a debate with Martin Hanks, who I usually find him very funny on Twitter. Most of the time I can't tell whether he's been serious or sarcastic, but I think he was being serious yesterday. So he said, me saying what I said backs up the idea that many fans like you and someone else called Andy have forgotten just how massive the club is. Villa. I don't think John Terry going back to Chelsea means that Villa aren't a big club.
To me, what I saw there was a different tweet where he said he wants to show that he's still Mr. Chelsea, and that's
Chelsea.
But that's what it seems. That's what it is to me. To me, it's one of those things where he still wants to show that on his Instagram account he still loves Chelsea, all that thing. That's great, but you're currently playing for Aston Villa. I find it slightly disrespectful. Like, I know he's Mr. Chelsea, and I'm going to get loads of people on Twitter going, no, he is Mr. Chelsea, all that kind of. That's fine, but Villa is still paying your wages. You currently, for the next year or 2 years or however long you stay at Villa, you should be Mr. Villa. Like, do you know what I mean? You must get that.
But the stuff he's doing, he's showing that he's never going to be a Villa fan.
All right, hypothetically,
most of the players that play for us aren't Villa fans.
Let's take another player. Take Onuma, who still might have a house near Spurs. Actually, that's different because he's owned by Spurs. Say he was owned by Villa, just for the sake of argument, and then he went back to Spurs and went into their training ground, having photos with Dele Alli, wearing all the Spurs kit and stuff. I think that would be received differently because he's not as popular as John Terry is. I think there is a case for John Terry is let off because he's such a good player and it's great and we love having him that we don't want to ruin that by kind of going, oh, John Terry shouldn't be doing this.
I wouldn't have a problem with it if the situation you just spoke of.
We wouldn't.
Was that? No, I'd have no issue with it whatsoever. Because the issue would become if Villa had John Terry and we were in the Premier League competing with Chelsea in the same league. I'd have an issue with it then. The fact that we're not even in the same league as them, there's no issue whatsoever. And Chelsea are doing us a favour there. They don't have to let John Terry in and treat him. Yeah,
I will say that actually I didn't consider, and I didn't read your first tweet, I didn't consider that it was his day off. That is something that I didn't think about, and that's fair enough. And I will say again, one, it doesn't bother me. Two, it's great that he's working so hard to get back to full fitness. I think that's brilliant. Three, Chelsea's facilities. I mean, I really don't think that they're going to be that much different in what he's training for. But if they are closer and he's able to do that and on his day off, then that is great. I want to see him back as soon as possible. Hopefully, it's Sheffield United on the 23rd, I think that is, and that would be great. I'm just surprised by Villa fans generally who are so. Yes, this is fine.
I mean, I'm making it sound a bit like I walk around London following John Terry around, which I must stress I have never done. But
not yet.
Also, as I say, it was his day off.
Yeah,
he was at his kids' school play last night. I saw it on Instagram. So him being in London, it was for convenience. He probably actually, had it not been for having a commitment with his family, the way he's been, and I know that he's done this since he's been at the club. He was at Villa at 6:30 a.m. the other day to do some treatment.
Yeah, I mean it's still his job though. Don't forget about that. It's like you're kind of again you're making out like he should be working hard. This is exactly what he should be doing. Yeah, that's great.
But footballers aren't all like that.
No, they're not.
They're not all like that.
They're not. But I got in early this morning and I worked really hard to get here on time because I respect you.
We missed your connection, but we won't talk about
that's not my fault. But that's what he should be doing. I agree with you that all footballers are like that. John Terry is a different breed. He's one of my favourite footballers on the pitch that in my lifetime, and I agree with all of that. But I think there's a case where we kind of idolise him so much that actually what he's doing what he should be doing.
Maybe, yeah, that's probably fair from my perspective. I probably do. I probably am idolising him a little bit because I think he's been a beast. Since he's been a Villa, he's been everything I hoped he would be, and I think he's raised the standards of everyone around him. But I just think yesterday, it's nothing. I think it's nothing. He's a nothing issue.
Yeah.
The fact we're talking about it probably shows that it is something. But I was just surprised. I mean, I must stress, I didn't see many bad reactions. I just saw a few.
Yeah.
On Twitter. I'm surprised there's any.
Yeah.
It's like I've been ageist here, but
What was that noise? Sorry.
I don't know. Maybe a football traditionalist I could understand, like an old guard of football fan having a problem with it, but that wasn't what I saw. It was people of my age having a problem with it. I don't get it. Especially when if we've not seen him putting in any work, and I would understand the grumblings. Mm-hmm. But he'll be back before he should have been because he's worked so hard. Yeah,
it also comes on a slow week, doesn't it? Where we've played on Friday, we're looking for things to talk about. There's actually not too much to talk about ahead until the Millwall game. So it's one of those things that will be talked about by people like us because we want to talk about something. I think generally on the same page. You're a little bit less bothered than I am. I think it's the reaction that's more weird than the actual action, especially as you've now pointed out. It's the day off thing. That also gives it a different perspective in my mind.
What I also think is funny is that this kind of thing wouldn't have even been news. We wouldn't have even found out about it a few years ago. But because footballers post everything they're doing nowadays on their Instagram story, you know about it within seconds of him being there.
Yeah. Is that good or bad, do you think? Do you think, because we've also been able to see John Terry working so hard.
Yeah, and I like that.
He self-publicises that, rightly or wrongly.
I mean, obviously I'm following him around London, so I know everything he's doing anyway. Exactly. I don't need Instagram.
You're the one taking the pictures, right?
I don't know whether David Luiz posted, didn't he? Yeah. First. I don't know whether John Terry would have posted on his own had David Luiz not done that. I think he probably felt he had to show that he didn't mind that he was being pictured in the Chelsea kit. Maybe that shows how funny football is nowadays, that he probably felt the need to do that afterwards just in case. Because he'll have known, as soon as David Luiz posted that, Terry will have known there'll be someone who says something about me being in this Chelsea kit. And he's had problems with full kit comments in the past as well, so that probably plays on his mind as well. I just think it's mad.
I can't imagine in the Sir Alex Ferguson era you being allowed phones anywhere near the treatment rooms or the changing rooms or like that. Just to me, football has changed obviously in the last 10 years or so, and you can do that, and it's good. It's interesting to see John Terry working his nuts off. I like that, but it has changed. You're right, and we maybe there are other examples of this. Like I was talking with my dad, but we just don't know about it.
I mean, one Villa manager banned phones at the training ground. I think it was Lambert,
right?
And he banned phones and tablets at the training ground. But I think this year Villa players have been more on their Instagram. I mean, I wasn't really on Instagram last year, but I can tell there's a better team spirit just by the things that they post. Obviously, the fancy dress party at the weekend, but you can just tell there's a better atmosphere within the squad. They're all friends, so I like to see that personally.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Actually, if it's building the atmosphere, I think there's a line, isn't there, that you shouldn't be crossing. Obviously, in the changing room before the game is a no. But if you're working together in the training facility or whatever, all good.
Yeah. It's just funny how far it's all come, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sound like my dad.
You haven't worn the Chelsea kit, though, tonight?
No. Martin did ask if we were going to be wearing full Chelsea tracksuits, but I couldn't get hold of one. And I did think as I was at Sky, I'd probably have to wear a Sky tracksuit rather than a Chelsea one. Yeah. Just like John Terry at the Chelsea training ground. Probably felt he had to wear Chelsea gear.
All right, let's move on. We must have talked about that for 10 more minutes than we should have done. FA Cup third round draws happened.
Yeah.
Aston Villa will play Woking or Peterborough the weekend of the 6th, 7th of January. All right there, buddy?
No, I'm struggling, to be honest.
Come on, we're not too far from the end.
Right at the back of it.
So keep it up. Woking v Peterborough. It was 1-1.
Woking or... Oh, sorry. I apologise.
Come on. It was 1-1 at Woking. The replay, if you're interested, is next Tuesday, so you can go along to Peterborough United and watch that and see who we get. Potential banana skin, isn't it, that one, Woking or Peterborough? You wouldn't want to lose either of them, really.
You wouldn't expect to either. You'd expect heavy rotation, whichever team we're playing as well. Probably get the wish of seeing the under-23 players. Yeah. So I don't really care who we get. I love the FA Cup, and I actually tuned in and watched the draw live, because I'd still do that.
Yeah.
When we're in the cups, there is something satisfying that satisfies me about doing that. But realistically, we're not going to win the FA Cup this year, I wouldn't think. So it's probably best to go out relatively early and concentrate on getting up the league.
Yeah, so
Championship.
So that game will probably be the 6th of January, because I doubt that who we're playing will mean that we're on telly. But it'd be good. We've obviously got a game on New Year's Day, and then which is the Monday, and then the 6th will be the Saturday. So it'd be good to, like you say, see some of the 23s and yeah, we'll see what they can do, because it'll have been a busy Christmas period. We won't know exactly where we are in the league, and there'll be a lot to play for come January.
Probably be a good sign that we're not on telly, because probably over the last few seasons that probably would have been picked to be on telly, because they'd say there's an upset on here, lads.
Yeah.
But we're a bit more astute now.
Yeah.
It's probably less likely that there will be an upset.
I agree. Ben Hopkins, first of all, an apology to make to you. You sent us a couple of tweets and a message last week to discuss the topic we're about to discuss.
See, the Chance lad he is, isn't he?
The Chance lad?
The guy
Oh, yeah,
who
he
plays
is,
the Chance.
yeah. Ben, you love your tunes. I
Yeah,
can imagine this guy singing all
He's had
around
a real
his
bad
house.
run on the Villa View, to be fair. He's been hammered for his chance that he's made up, and then we're forgetting to answer his questions.
Yeah, that's true. So he wanted to talk a little bit about Don't Look Back in Anger, the songs that are at Villa. I wanted to get your opinion. You're there a lot more than me, and frankly, your opinion matters a lot more than me to everybody
I
here.
don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. There was a review the other day saying Tom better than Dan, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't there? You took great delight in
I
that.
did, yeah. Always
Yeah,
did.
yeah, you liked that.
Go on then.
He framed that photo and got it up in his bedroom wall.
I don't think Hannah would let me.
No.
Go on then. Give Ben Hopkins your full attention and talk to me about the tunes.
I think it's probably run its course,
Yeah.
to be honest, yeah. I think just play Hi Ho Aston Villa or Hi Ho Silver Lining after the game. That's a song that I associate with Villa doing well and Villa having won. I think Don't Look Back Anger. Don't Look Back Anger. Don't Look Back in Anger was quite random the way it came about. It just suddenly started getting sang at Reading when we won away at last. After a year or so without winning an away game, it just broke out for some reason.
Right.
And then it just carried on. But that was more of a last season song, and we didn't do great last season.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably run its
Move
course.
on. Yeah. Hi Ho.
Traditional.
Hi Ho's a lot more upbeat as well, isn't it? It feels a little bit more like a sing-songy kind of song. Don't Look Back in Anger is quite a slow tune, really.
I mean, negative connotations.
Yeah.
Don't Look Back in Anger, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd change it, personally.
If you haven't seen the Amazon Prime Supersonic documentary on Oasis, it's absolutely
I haven't
brilliant.
seen it yet.
Oh, you
I've
have
got
to
Amazon
watch
Prime at the moment. I should probably watch it.
It's wonderful viewing.
Wonderful view. I bet Dolan's watched that
Oh, yeah.
lots of times.
Yeah.
He's friends with members of the band there.
Is he?
Dolan, yeah.
Bonehead.
I think he is friends with Bernard. That is the one. That is who he's friends with.
Oh, nailed it.
Yeah.
But see, I only knew that because I watched the documentary.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I'm not. I like bands, but I don't really get involved in who the bassist is and that kind of thing.
No.
I don't remember.
You're more about the front men.
I don't really know names, to be honest.
Surprised you know who Dan Rolinson is.
That's true. Did you see this Nigel Kennedy thing on a bit of weird news?
Yeah, I did read that just before I came up.
Yeah, so Nigel Kennedy, the famous, he's a violinist, Villa fan.
He's pretty famous.
I mean, he's more famous than me.
Who isn't?
He wants Villa to reject, if they are to get to the Premier League, he wants them to reject the move in a protest because the Premier League isn't competitive enough.
No.
I mean, no.
Some of the stuff he said was quite valid, I thought. But we're not turning down going into the Premier League. It's like saying we'll go to the Premier League. No, it's all right, the FA. We don't want that 200 million you're going to give us. We'll stay in the Championship and take the 30, thanks.
It's just bizarre.
I get the point that he's making.
Yeah,
but you're never going to turn it down.
Yeah, it's a non-point though, isn't it, really?
No, but what he was saying about there being a lot of dross in the Premier League and it being quite boring, teams are there just to make up the numbers and just want to stay there, there's no ambition. West Brom. I get that. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying there. And you look at some of the teams that are in the Premier. I mean, you've got no divine right to be there as Aston Villa, I know that. But I do look at some of the teams and watch some of the games sometimes in the Premier League and think, Christ, how are we where we are? And these are established Premier League teams. You've no disrespect, your Bournemouths, your Watfords. Like Watford are riding high in the top half, and I just think it shouldn't be that difficult for Villa to get back to that. But the fact is, it is now.
Yeah, I mean, Watford, I think, are a different class to some of the teams that you've talked there. They're playing great football,
No,
and
they're
not boring.
They're not established Premier. Well, they are an established Premier League team now, Watford, but they're not a big club, are they?
No,
We're a big club.
not historically.
No.
But that's not. I've always said that's not important. That's not what matters. It's the
At least
football you're playing.
They're having a go.
Absolutely.
They're not one of the ones who Although they have been previously a little bit. But like West Brom, I know they're our local rivals, and it'll look like I'm just saying it because of that, and there probably is an element of that. But they are just satisfied with just being in the Premier League, and that's it, just existing and being in a league higher than Villa. They're satisfied with that.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I don't know that the fans are, because they've obviously made a managerial change, and Pulis had got a lot of criticism for his style of football, and obviously Stoke before that was a similar. He's done a magnificent job, really, like cementing Stoke and West Brom in that position. But you're right, there are a lot of teams that just hang about, and it's not fun to watch. Having said that, Villa for the last 3 years were hanging about and making up the numbers, and there was a lot of non-Villa fans who were saying, "Can't wait for Villa to get relegated because their football is dross."
Yeah, if you stay down the bottom long enough, you eventually end up in where we have in the Championships. Happened with Sunderland as well. They're fighting a relegation battle every single year. Do you think it was kind of you a minute ago to associate the word style and football with Tony Pulis?
Did I say that?
You didn't say it, but just you've been using those
right,
two
okay.
words around Tony Pulis, I thought was generous.
Yeah, well,
I wanted to talk a bit about the manager stuff last week. I forgot. Hiring Pardew.
Yeah.
Just a boring appointment, which means in 2 years' time they'll be looking for someone else.
Uninspiring.
Yeah. What's he done to get that job?
Although, who would you pick? Like it was. I remember looking at the time, and there wasn't a huge amount of options out there. Unless you go for somebody who's completely unknown, I don't think someone like Thomas Tuchel would have taken that job.
No.
So there's a kind
You
of.
wouldn't even know they are.
There's a middling ground there, isn't there, where you're only going to get somebody. I mean, I don't know if Allardyce would have got that job. Whether maybe he got offers for both. There's a potential there that he got an offer from West Brom, and then Everton came in and said, "I want that," and he definitely would have taken the Everton job.
Used to be that they go for a manager doing well in the lower league in the old
Wilder,
days.
Chris Wilder or something.
Yeah, he's done a good job. I mean, I don't think he'd leave Sheffield United for a start, but there was a thing I can't. I mean, again, forgive me, I'm all over the place tonight. There's like a diagram of Pardew, Pulis, Allardyce, and Hodgson and the teams they've managed and the fact they've won no trophies, and it's just is a merry-go-round. They'd all pretty much managed 3 out of 4 of those teams.
Right.
Like, it was just it's ridiculous.
There was talk of Derek McInnes, the Aberdeen manager, who's been linked with the Rangers job now, coming down to either the Premier League or taking that Sunderland job as well. I think in the summer he was offered the Sunderland job, and he decided not to take it after meeting the club, which just shows what a mess that club's in.
West Brom, he's a former player, McInnes. He was well liked there. Just give him a go.
Give
him a go.
Yeah.
Fans would. I'm sure West Brom fans. I mean, I don't really know that many. I try and avoid them, but I'm sure they'd much rather have an old player like McInnes, someone they've got a bit of attachment to, than a bit of a show pony, not that great Pardew, who's just going to consolidate them and that's it. And they'd rather probably have someone like McInnes and be fighting a relegation battle and to be a bit interesting and stay up with him than they would have with just Pardew, where they'll finish between 11th and 15th probably every season. Just existing. Take a punt, have some fun.
It was lucky that Pulis didn't get sacked earlier, because I dressed up my one of my mates as Tony Pulis on his stag do, and that would have been completely wasted. I had to buy it.
What you done? You'd have to have gone and changed it or got Pardew mask.
I could only just get a West Brom full tracksuit on eBay. There was only one, unsurprisingly, but it didn't quite fit, which was perfect. But yeah,
Worth mentioning that guy, the stag was a Wolves fan.
A big Wolves fan, yeah.
It's worth mentioning.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's move on quickly. There's one more thing. If you're going to the Millwall game on Saturday, there are changes to security, which is worth mentioning. There's going to be a lot more police around, so maybe leave a little bit more time. And if it is going to change, it might change your plans pre-match. So check out the Aston Villa website, because that's quite important.
My dad will want to leave at 9 a.m. now.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that, should I?
Keep it quiet everywhere this week.
Should we go on to some questions?
Yeah.
I've got a couple up here while you get your phone ready.
I'll get the comments up. You start with the questions. I'll get the comments from the Villa Views previous videos.
Okay. All right, let's go with PD Dom to start with. What's your opinion on... Oh, and by the way, we kind of moved on. I'm not entirely sure. If you've got a song choice, we talked about Hi Ho Aston Villa, but if you've got a song choice that you'd like to hear at Villa Park, let us know. We'd like to hear your opinion, and I'm sure Ben Hopkins would too.
Oh, he'd love it.
Yeah, he really would.
Anything music based.
He loves a sing song.
Give Ben Hopkins a follow on Twitter for anything Villa music based.
Absolutely. PD Dom, what's your opinion on Sam Johnston's contract situation that's been reported on recently by the Birmingham Mail?
Man, you just giving him a year.
Yeah, they've got Manchester United. He's on loan from Manchester United. He is extended by another year.
Well, he hasn't. I think the club have extended it. I think they had an option as I understand it.
Tomato with that one. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
I've got no thoughts. I don't think it was pretty much well known and expected.
Do you think it changes the fact, would Villa put a bid in for him?
Not in January because we won't be able to afford to.
No.
Man U are being sensible. They're protecting
Their asset.
themselves, yeah, and they're gonna get a decent fee for him next summer when he goes somewhere, whether it be Villa or not, depends on where we are, I think.
Villa Mad, who had a pop at us for never reading his questions. I think we do. I think he often has a Bruce out question, which we usually pull in.
Said that.
We pull in with other questions.
Yeah, maybe. It's not personal, Villa Mad.
No, it's definitely not.
No.
Villa Mad 3, if you want to follow him on Twitter, just a little boost there for you.
Maybe the third most Villa Mad person on Twitter.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not a Bruce fan, and I make no secret of it. We are fifth, and in my opinion, all playing for second. In your opinion, do you think that's good enough for a club with the resources we have at our disposal? For me, the answer would have to be no. He would also like to talk about the state of the Balti pies. But
I've not had a pie yet this season.
We'll leave that for another week.
I've not had one yet. We need you to get down there and do the true test.
That's
true
true.
Taste test.
One day I'm going to make a YouTube channel where pies of the
I
world.
think someone's beaten you to it, the food at football, haven't they?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Older Ellis, the away days guy, he's starting a feature.
Yeah.
A weekly feature about food at football. Ellis, I don't think he watches or listens to the podcast, but you'd love to be involved in that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if you need,
you'd leave the Villa View to get involved in that.
I do both.
No,
Ellis,
you'd be God.
if you need a wingman, I've proved I can do it and keep Dan in track. So just let me know. Anyway, let's get to Villa Mad's question. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble. Yeah. In your opinion, do you think that's good enough for a club fifth place with the resources we have at our disposal? Yes, I do. I think it's a competitive league. I don't think anybody gets an automatic automatic promotion place by right. I've always said that, and I think come the end of the season we'll be competing for second. We'll be up the top of the playoffs. We may just miss out, but it's a tough league.
Expectations can be the master of your downfall as well. If you look at Cardiff, who's sitting second at the moment. No Cardiff fan would have had the expectation of challenging for automatic promotion this season, I don't think.
Yeah.
So there's less pressure on them. They got to a good start and they've managed to sustain it. The other thing is you've got teams like Sheffield United who've been on an upward trajectory for a number of years now. We've been going, I don't know why I feel the need to do the actions. I think everyone knows what up and down mean. But Villa have been on a downward trajectory.
Yeah. And
we're slowly now starting to get it right. But when you've had all the bad stuff that's happened to us, it takes time to build yourselves back up. And we're nowhere near the level we should be, and it is going to take time. But unfortunately, it is going to be baby steps. So for me, I actually think it's quite a big step that we're even in the playoff challenging at the moment compared to where we were last season.
I think we should be there or thereabouts. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But you're right. It does. I mean, Villa were a mess. Like when we went down, and then when we looked very shaky in our first year, it was a troubled side. And like you say, it's more than just the performances on the pitch. It's also the attitude off the pitch. It's the coaching. It's the camaraderie. All that kind of thing. And we have come on leaps and bounds. Like somebody said, I think, from the Leeds game last year to playing on Friday night. Obviously, we didn't start off particularly well, but we did come back and we did show fight and resolve to get a draw, and potentially could have done a bit more if the Janssen had been sent off or whatever. That kind of thing breaks for you. We are a lot more competitive now than we were this time last year, and I think we will continue to be like that, hopefully, until the end of the season, and we'll be fighting for second.
I think challenging for automatic promotion, which is where I'd say we are. I don't think we'll get it, but it's where I'd say we are. I'd say I'm pretty pleased with that.
Giggs Sharma, love the podcast, guys. Where do you guys stand on the Onuma situation? We're not going to get him on a permanent deal, so why not look to develop Grealish or O'Hare more? Talked a little bit about that earlier. I think
I get what he's saying.
Yeah, Grealish will get his chance, won't he?
Yeah, Onuma's a good player though. We wouldn't be able to buy a player like Onuma. When he's good, he's very good. And as I say, there's some inconsistencies because he's young, but when he's good, he's very, very good. So we're lucky to have that in a way, and it's something we wouldn't be able to get permanently. So rotate them, play them both at times. You have to have a squad.
Yeah.
So we're lucky he's part of the squad.
Absolutely. We can't wait to see Jack Grealish back, and hopefully he'll make that role his own and force Bruce's hand, because that's part of it as well. You've got to show your mettle, show your resolve, and make that position. You make yourself the number one pick.
Possibly Onuma's only here as well because Grealish was injured and we thought he was going to be out till 2017. So Onuma may only be here because of that injury. And now we've got two good players for that place, plus O'Hare coming through as well.
Not sure how this one's going to go down. David Hunt, 80. What's the stupidest Villa-related bet you've ever made? Mine was a Blues game, 2002, £20 per goal. Lost £60 and felt very embarrassed. I was so confident, but then Enkelman happened. Still gives me nightmares. Ridiculous thing is, my mate made the same bet for the return fixture.
I'm not a massive gambler.
I thought that about you.
I'm more of a... Obviously, for me now, it's saying stupid things that come back to haunt you.
Yeah.
That's more the more likely thing to happen. I remember when O'Leary was in charge and we sold Darius for sale. I remember it's the only time I've ever done this. I was frustrated with how things were going, and I just thought it's going to be typical Darius for sale or score against us. So I had a bet on Vassell to score first goal against Villa in that game, and he did.
Did he?
Yeah. So I got some money in my student days.
Oh, nice.
For that. But I still obviously always prefer Villa to do well. But I just had a feeling it was going to happen, so I did it. But I don't bet against Villa. I don't even put Villa in accumulators or anything now.
No.
I just stay clear of anything Villa.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I don't bet that often, but when I was a student, it was just after I'd had a holiday job, so I had a bit of cash, and I thought it'd be a great idea to put a lot of money on a sure thing. So this isn't actually Villa related; it's just betting related. I don't have a betting Villa story because I'm similar to you. I don't really touch them. I put 150 quid, which is quite a lot of money for a student on Man U to beat Birmingham. I think it was on the first day of the season, and it was to return like 35 quid. And I thought, I keep every week of you put on a sure thing, and you're like, I've hit the mic for the first time. Usually that's you.
I've done that once today.
And anyway, it came in. Man U won 1-0, but I hated that game, and I never did it again.
That game.
And I ran to the bookies because I was like, I need to get this money out, and I don't know what I thought might happen.
Desperate time.
Yeah, I think it went in that week.
It's not like a countdown. If you don't get there, you don't
exactly.
get your money.
A very odd.
Naive young better.
That was it. Very, very naive young man. Darren Woolley, do you think it's an overreaction by the police for the Millwall game? I know their reputation, but I don't think it will be bad as social media is making out. That we had actually had a response from a Millwall fan as well on here, which I'm just trying to find. That's the Met Police for you. They have travelled in numbers to most of Millwall's away games, inciting. He says that the police are the ones inciting trouble.
They've got, rightly or wrongly, they have a reputation.
Yeah.
So the police are always going to be err on the side of caution. And I mean, I played a game of football at Millwall's ground probably a year and a half ago, and there was like 4 teams, 11-a-side games. There was sort of half-an-hour games you play each team once. We played against a team of Millwall fans. I must admit, I was quite wary of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was in goal. I was quite scared.
Because of their reputation or because of actually how they were?
Bit of both. I did think these guys mean business. Someone's going to get hurt here.
I think reputation does play into these kind of things, but at the same time, police have got to do their job, and especially after, I mean, it's not the same, but fan violence in Europe, Hillsborough Inquiry, the Met Police have to be absolutely on top of their game.
What I would say doesn't help is telling them that there's no pub they can go to in Birmingham. That's not great, is it?
Who's going to offer their pub?
I'm sure pubs let away fans in normally.
Yeah.
Some pubs around that let away fans in. To say there's none, that gets you off to a bad start.
Yeah.
They're welcome at the German market, aren't they? That's what they've been told. That's where to go to drink.
It's not
on a Saturday with a load of kids around.
They're not going to want
the wisest move, I would say.
They're not going to want warm wine, are they?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Foxy, we've kind of answered your question. Would you start Grealish and Lansbury against Millwall?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I would.
We're going to do the preview in a minute. I'm not quite sure. Jack Hannibal, we talked about him.
You better get sure because we've got to record that.
Yeah, I know. That's it, I think. We're good for questions.
Should we go through a few comments from the Villa View's recent video offerings? We've got... Oh, God, it's so small.
It is small.
Limbless Villain. Positives from game. We were away from home, 1-0 down at half-time. It's a notoriously tough away fixture, and we had the spirit and determination to get something from the game. Last season, we would have lost it 2-0, 3-0. Shows loads of progress and lion spirit at last. Yep, I agree with that.
Peter Luckhurst, Grealish isn't just the best footballer at Villa, he's the best in the Championship. He is our future, not Onomah, who's simply on a Spurs sabbatical. Grealish terrifies the opposition defences and makes us an offensive team. When he came on with a very impressive Lansbury, we looked potent. It does beg the question, why do we have to go behind before Bruce makes positive substitutions? We never seem to take the opposition from the start. We're always too cautious and overly obsessed with keeping the defensive shape. I've got a couple of couple of problems with that.
Have
Yeah, Grealish, I don't think is the player of the Championship quite yet. One, he's been injured all season. Could be. This says he is. And
I said he was the best footballer at Aston Villa. That's in that video. That's where that's come from.
But I mean, obviously, he wasn't the best player in the Championship last year. He had quite a disappointing season by Villa fan standards.
That's certainly my fault, though, for predicting he was going to win best player in the Championship overall.
Well, of course.
I cursed it.
And the other one, I feel like we have been playing more positively. Leeds game, not so much. And but on the whole, I feel like we've been playing more positive brand of football. And actually, again, Steve Bruce made positive changes because we were playing poorly. I don't think you can be too disappointed with that.
No, and whenever the camera cut to Bruce, he looked frustrated with what he was saying, to be honest. It's not like he's telling them to not be able to pass the ball to each other, is it?
No.
He wants them to start, well, sometimes you just don't. It's football.
Yeah.
But I don't think Bruce sends them out overly negative, saying, don't pass to each other, let's knock it out of play instead.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens. Got one here along the same lines. Ant Littlejohns. Grealish once again benched. Every time he comes on, gives forward-thinking emphasis. I do like this pun, even though I don't necessarily agree with it. Onoma has been anonymous for the last 4 games.
Got time for that.
It's great to see Lansbury score his first and get some game time. I think Grealish has been benched. I think he's been eased in slowly, coming back from injury. And I think Onoma's been good, so it would have been harsh to drop him.
Yeah, I think it's worth remembering that a lot of people were criticising Bruce and the coaching staff for chucking in Codger too early, and that's some of the reason that we now don't have him again. And to do the same for Grealish would just be absolute madness. Theo Stanway, phenomenal analysis of the match. Thanks, lads. That was a nice and
Did feel good. Sometimes you walk away like the podcast last week and thought, I've not done well there. And that was how I felt. And I know you felt the same.
Yeah.
Walking away last week. I did do that. I felt like I made amends with the review. I felt like I did well in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
So it's nice to hear someone say phenomenal analysis. Very kind.
Yeah, 76AVJD says, great podcast again. If we can get 13 points, I'm going to take that as your prediction for the year. 13, what's that, 13 out of 18? That's tough, but...
I'd take it.
Well, I'd certainly take it. Yeah. You got one more?
Yeah, Scotty Edwards. Instead of going into the market, I think we should be challenging Hepburn, Murphy and Agbonlahor to prove their place in the squad. Bruce mentioned players need to start earning their money. The Christmas period is a time they need to be proving their worth and commitment to AVFC. That's what I was saying about using Gabby. We can't buy anyone or get anyone on loan till January, so we need him back for these games. We need Hepburn, Murphy back. We need as many forward bodies as we can get, because at the moment we've just got Davis, which isn't enough. So yeah, I'd love them to start earning their money. I'm sure they'd love to start earning their money as well and playing games, affecting games.
That's it. Let's. This is it. We talked about it last week. Christmas is crucial, and we need every player playing the top of their game. We need every fan getting behind this team. I meant to say, actually, watching the game on Friday night, the crowd sounded amazing. The Villa fans, you could really hear them singing loud and proud, and that's what we massively need at Villa Park over the next 5 months. But certainly in the next six games, home and away.
Away atmosphere is never a problem.
Yeah.
I don't think the away fans are perfect.
Yeah.
I would go as far to say they always get behind the team. They always sing loud and proud.
Yeah.
For 90 minutes, no matter the circumstance. So just to get that home atmosphere a bit better at the moment.
Well, let's start that against Millwall on Saturday. Yeah. Massively important game, and one where we can really set our stall out. I think Villa can show that they are an attacking team, they're an exciting team, and I think that's where we're going to start on Saturday.
Yep, I'll be there on Saturday, either Max or myself. We'll be doing fan cams after the game. If you want to go on Villa's Facebook, Aston Villa officials Facebook Live as well before the game around 1:30, then myself and Ian Taylor will be building up to the game live, so tune in to that if you can and support Villa and support me. Support Ian Taylor. I'm sure Ian Taylor doesn't need the support. He gets enough of that as it is. But yeah, get behind us and watch that if you can. I think we've got, I won't say too much, but we've got potentially an interview coming up on Monday for the Villa View, so we'll reveal more about that on Monday. Not an ex-player or a current player or anything like that, but should be an interesting interview nonetheless. So we'll reveal more about that when we know it's definitely confirmed, so stay tuned to our social channels for all the information there. We'll be back, Tom and I, to do another podcast next week, maybe the Christmas jumper episode. Really wind Chris Dolan up. He says he hates Christmas jumpers.
Does he?
Yeah, so make sure you wear your loudest Christmas jumper next week.
I think we've got one more week before Christmas jumper.
Have we?
Yeah, because next week will be like the 10th, and then we've got the 17th.
Well, that's January, Tom.
That's
so you've got 11 months to Christmas from there.
Well, yeah, then we've got 13th and then the 20th still.
Okay, maybe not next week then. Maybe
we're both
week
wrong.
After. Yeah, we are both wrong.
Makes a
in
change.
Spectacular fashion. Yeah, thanks ever so much for watching and listening to our ramblings. Much appreciated.
Yep.
Keep up your iTunes reviews. We are over 100 now. If you can lay off saying Tom's better than me in the reviews, that'd be super.
Absolutely amazing that it's over 100
I think
already.
It's absolutely amazing that someone thinks I'm better than Dan.
Well, yeah, that's good as well. But no, we really do appreciate it. That's phenomenal. We've only been doing it kind of 4 or 5 months or so, and it's always a pleasure to do. So to know that you guys are enjoying it and to have over 100 reviews, which are largely positive, is brilliant. So thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Yeah. We'll be back next week. We'll let you know the day, as we haven't discussed it ourselves yet. I may have some scheduling difficulties next week, but nonetheless, we will work through it, and there will be a podcast, hopefully talking about 3 points against Millwall on Saturday. So, yeah, thanks very much. Stick with the channel. Stick with the Villa. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.